Please tell us about Special Olympics. What is its international perspective, and what are your ambitions about India?
Okay, well, Special Olympics is a global organisation that works with people with intellectual disabilities. We provide sports opportunities, but our work doesn't stop there. It goes into health, education, skills development for people with ID as well. What we do is we know that sport really is a great way to get people active, to be able to provide them with the right impetus to develop confidence, self-empowerment. And so what we're trying to do is make sure that people with intellectual disabilities have the best sports experience they can, competitive opportunities all around. Now, when we're looking at what we're trying to do in India, we're looking to redevelop that program. We used to have such a huge program, really widespread, providing people with intellectual disabilities, not just in India, but across the region with so many opportunities. Now, that's something that since COVID-19 we've had to rebuild, and we're doing that through competitions such as this. Bringing Bocce and Bowling to India right now is part of a 10-year campaign, a 10-year competition calendar in sports such as badminton, swimming, track and field. It's all comes together, and this is one of the first competitions that we're running since COVID.
If I may put a devil's advocate, a Paralympic Games is there, and we are talking about Special Olympics. It is not for me, but for the clarification of the people and the worldwide fans of yours, what you have to say, how do you are different from that?
So Special Olympics is really about providing opportunities in sport. So that means that we're not looking at high performance. Now, when you're looking at Paralympics, you're looking at elite level sport for the best of the best. Now, that's fantastic. But when we're talking about people with intellectual disabilities that just want to have a go and to understand what it's like to play sport, most of them don't get the chance to do that. So when we get them onto the sports field, give them a competitive opportunity, we're talking about all abilities, getting to compete against people with the same type of abilities as them. So it's hugely competitive, highly competitive, but it involves everybody. And that's what we love about Special Olympics. It gives everyone a chance to be included and gives everyone a chance to build and fulfill their full potential.
All those who are watching you here in India, how they can get into Special Olympics and what competitions they can get into, how they can contribute, both in terms of athlete or participation, or also in terms of advertisement and promotion.
Well, if you're a person with intellectual disabilities, that's an IQ below 70, you can get involved in Special Olympics as an athlete. We also run something called unified sports, where we bring people with intellectual disabilities and without intellectual disabilities together on the sports field. Now, what that does is we provide them with competitive opportunities to play sport in a way that includes everybody. Now, the thing is, all of this takes it takes a community to make this type of work happen. We need volunteers, we need coaches, we need people that have an interest in sport to come along and just really support this type of activity in whatever way they can. Now, Special Olympics Bharat is a bona fide organisation that works here in India, and you need to contact them, and I'm sure that we'll be able to provide contact details as a result of this interview. And what we'll do then is make sure that there's a way for anyone who wants to get involved to get involved.
What are the sports, if taking the sports side, talking about the sports side now, what are the sports that one could play into, and also what are your scouting plans? Whether it is sports, Special Olympic Bharat or Special Olympic Asia Pacific.
We offer over 30 sports worldwide, and that includes everything from athletics right the way through to football to basketball and so forth. And so there are a huge variety of sports to get involved with across the world. Now, we're talking about over 200 countries involved in Special Olympics globally, and what we're doing is we're trying to broaden the number of sports that we do as much as we can across those 30. Now, what we think is really important is that people understand that if there is a Special Olympics program in your country, they try and deliver whatever sports they can, but that isn't necessarily available to everybody. It depends on how we can access coaches, how we can access venues and things like that. So it's really important to check locally what Special Olympics can provide. At the same time, when you're talking about the sports that we're trying to develop and deliver in Asia Pacific, which is across 35 countries in this region, we're looking primarily at the likes of bocce and bowling, which this competition is obviously at the forefront of. We're looking at swimming, we're looking at athletics, basketball, football, and badminton. So,
People would say that Special Olympic has come to India a little bit too late. Do you agree, or do you think there is still a wide scope of expanse for the expanse of it?
you know, when you're talking about giving people an opportunity to play sport, what I love about India is that sport seems to be such a huge part. I've seen so many different tournaments, advertised competitions, advertised as I've just been going through the city over the last few days. Sport is a huge part of the Indian culture. That competition is so important, and I think that Special Olympics adds so much to that. So I don't think we're too late. In fact, I think we're just beginning.
Certainly, what your observation, I reckon with your observation that whole of city has banners and posters of Special Olympic Bharat, and that is something very very encouraging for people to absorb, and at the same time for people to align with the Special Olympic Bharat and Special Olympic Asia Pacific and Special Olympic in particular. How do you look for the promotion and advertising and expanding this Special Olympics in Asia Pacific, where Indian athlete could participate, because that could be one way of promoting Special Olympic Bharat, because athletes are the real brand ambassadors.
Absolutely. I mean, as I said, you know, we've got this 10-year competition calendar across these sports. Now we're doing our very best to raise the profile of that and to give as many countries as possible an opportunity to take part. Now by doing that, we're hoping that each athlete that does take part gets an opportunity to really talk about what success looks like. However, the key thing about Special Olympics is what we do at a local level every day. There's grassroots training taking place. There's the opportunity to compete locally. And those types of things are really important in getting a program going, a club going. These types of things, if we can see that develop, we're going to start to see more awareness around Special Olympics at a grassroots level. Now that has to go hand in hand with the things that you're seeing, such as competitions like this, where you're seeing banners everywhere, you're seeing people talking. I really appreciate being able to speak to you, to speak to the media about what it is that Special Olympics do. In the end, it's about generating awareness and lifting the lid on what intellectual disability is, and using sport as a way to do that. So everything from, you know, social media right the way down to that banner on the road. But specifically, I guess more than anything, the competition itself are the mediums that we're using to tell people about what we're doing.
Most importantly, you are making parents aware that yes, their wards or their children or their boys and girls could find appreciation, and their work is being appreciated not only in India and around the world through Special Olympic movement. And that is something a very emotional issue, but at the same time, it is what you are doing is something you are reaching a very, very wide goal. In India, we call there are almost 10 million Special Olympic or special athletes or athlete, what our Prime Minister called Divyang, and our Prime Minister also is very much emotionally and passionately engaged with it about the Paralympics, whether it is Olympics or athletes or Paralympics or Special Olympic this time.
I mean, that idea, I mean, you're absolutely right. Our intent really is to allow not just parents, caregivers, but communities to recognise what people with intellectual disabilities actually can do. There's an untapped potential in everybody, and what we're trying to do is just provide that avenue for that to be found. Once we've identified it, I think that we'll see attitude change across everybody, not just the parents and caregivers, but entire communities, and that's really what this is about. And I think it fits very well with the perspective that I think that India is taking as a nation, and certainly the way in which we hope that sport can be seen as a conduit to further development for people more generally.
What you are doing is amazing, and also because you are like a godsend to all those athletes or all those participants who will be there. How many athletes are participating in this competition that you are hosting from tomorrow, and how many our teams are coming? How many countries are participating?
Yeah, so there's 12 countries involved at the moment. We've got 3 regions involved. In fact, we've got teams from Asia Pacific, we've got teams from East Southeast Asia, and we've got teams from Europe, Eurasia as well. And it's been absolutely fantastic to bring these teams together for this competition. Now, for us, we want to see as many more countries get involved as we can. Now, in Asia Pacific, we're working across, at the moment, 30 countries. Hopefully with 35 by the end of next year. And within those countries, we want to see every one of them getting an opportunity to participate in competitions like this moving forward.
Thank you very much for taking time to talk to Vision Television World. We'll look forward to it. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you.
Cheers.